There, it's Jennifer Judge from Keller Williams, helping great people find great homes. And today I wanted to touch base with you on buying a residential investment property. A lot of people have asked me a lot of questions, so I thought I'd go over a few important tips to remember. For instance, one, when you are buying a property, did you know that if you get a mortgage on an investment property, it's not going to be the same rate as we're getting for a primary residence? It usually is about 2% higher. You can always buy down your rate, but do understand that that is different than a primary. One tip around that is that you can buy a new primary residence, move into it, and then down the road rent it out. So your current primary would become a rental property. And you don't have to change rates. If you start with it as your main residence, you can continue at some point to turn it into a rental. So that's a good tip to know. Be sure to talk to your lender about that. Step 2, location. Make sure it's a location that suits who you want to rent to. Think about, are you looking at high-end properties that might cater to people that are moving in from out of town and want some luxury home? Are you thinking about tenants who want to rent long-term? You know, it might be important if they're raising a family to do your research on the school districts. Maybe you're looking for an apartment or a condo and it's in the city, right? Because maybe, you know, you can't classify who's living in there, but maybe it's a young professional or a professional, and just being right in the thick of downtown Austin is important. So think about that. Location, oh, don't forget, location, important when you're buying your main home or an investment. And lastly, I want you to remember that when you're looking at homes to buy as an investment, you should not be looking at a home that you would necessarily live in, right? There's upkeep, there's a lot of different things. This is an investment vehicle. So even if you take that route where you're going to live for a couple years so that you can get that lower rate, I want you also to remember that, again, you're looking for a house that has low maintenance outside. You may be wanting to find a 3-bedroom with 2 baths. I often tell folks, try to avoid a 1-bedroom for an investment, but you know, there's going to be pockets of town that are so hot that somebody is willing to make that sacrifice. And as far as size of a rental home, again, it's going to depend who your target market is. You may want to do a small little apartment that's perfect for one person. You may need something that's for a full family. These are all the things that I always recommend people to think about. Kind of figure out who your target market is, and then you can buy appropriately. And there's 2 parts of of buying an investment. There's going to be the long-term investment, and then there's going to be your monthly cash flow. And at times it is hard to find the perfect property that's going to give you immediate cash flow. So sometimes you might have to pay out of pocket for a little bit for a couple years, and then eventually rents go up and it turns into a cash stream, as well as hopefully that the home is actually increasing over the long term so that you can sell it and either upgrade or do a 1031, whole nother video. But think about both of those aspects. And remember, a little tax tip, a home is a rental or as an investment if you have lived in it for less than 2 years in the last 5. Otherwise, if you've lived in a home for 2 out of the last 5 years, when you sell it, you can sell it as your primary residence. That's a little tricky, and we could talk about that offline. But there's so many different ins and outs of buying an investment, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about that. Give me an email at jjudge@kw.com, and I look forward to talking with you more about investments and how you can build wealth through purchasing real estate. You have a great day. This is Jennifer Judge.